All right, well, hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Ravenrook Plays If My Heart Had Wings. So, if I recall correctly, and I believe I do, we are at the flashback scene, which seems pretty important. Probably learn more about, was it, how embarrassing, is it Itsuki-san? I can't remember. I feel terrible, but trudge on, trudge on. The old garage, built in a hidden part of the school grounds. It seems like no one is using it, and is seen by almost nobody. I thought there might be something interesting in there, so I sneaked inside. The first time I saw it, I just thought, there's some weird object in here, and wasn't particularly interested in it. The thing that changed everything was finding that photo. Hidden carefully inside that notebook was that incredibly beautiful photograph of the clouds. Could such a beautiful sky really exist? It was so amazing, I felt myself asking this. But it's strange. What is it about this photo? Ah, I know. Yes, this photograph was taken from above the clouds. That is what was written on the pages between which it was placed. We are so lucky, we purely by chance were able to fly through the morning glory that suddenly appeared from Kazegara. This could be considered a miracle and was an unbelievable experience. Morning glory? They flew? As I continued to read the notebook, or rather, flight log, I became more and more engrossed. This photograph of the clouds was taken by the people who used this garage and flew above the clouds in an aircraft called a glider. This glider has no engine and flies by riding the wind. How must that feel to ride on the wind and fly? To pass through that beautiful passage of clouds. When I pondered on that thought, my mind had already been made up. To repair the abandoned glider and aim for the distant clouds. The next day, I immediately revealed my great plan to my best friend. The sun's starting to go down. Shall we call it a day? Ageha said as I was taking a breather after returning from a flight. We can go one more time, can't we? We still have a little time before the sun goes down completely. That's pushing it, I think. There are no streetlights around here, so it would be pretty dark before the sun goes down. That will make landing dangerous. She's right. When we came back just now, it was hard to see the runway, and my depth perception was messed up. So that's why we're all finished for today. Kotori, let's get going. Ageha calls Kotori on her cell phone. Right now, Kotori is by the winch. Are we done for today? Yes, perfect wind for training has just started blowing through. Nothing we can do about that. We don't want to have any accidents. As she speaks, Amane looks toward the eastern sky. There's the orange glow of sunset, the same as always. Looks like the sign has appeared again. Oh, that there might be a morning glory? The sky indicated that nothing would happen the following morning. I watched her from the side while she looked to the sky, and her face seemed filled with impatience. Since the winch came back, we've been doing as many test flights as possible every day. There are adjustments to be made to the glider, but the main objective is for Amane and I to do flight training. You were able to fly quite high today. How high was it, roughly? Around 600 meters. Oh, that's the highest so far. You're really getting the hang of this, aren't you? Yeah, but it's still hard to ride the thermals. Thermals are the vertical drafts formed by air heated by the Earth's surface. They occur more easily in areas where the temperature above the ground rises easily, like soil or asphalt. By catching these thermals, we can fly to higher altitudes. However, the thing we're chasing is the wind, which is invisible. It's not easy to catch. Even after riding it well, the wind is fickle, the flow and strength are not stable, and may suddenly disappear. But if we don't get good at riding it, we won't be able to fly high enough to reach the passage of clouds. I think that's partially why I love this game so much is it's all about that power of the wind and like riding it, and it reminds me so much of my favorite book, Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison, where just the last line is so powerful, where he realizes if he surrendered to the air, he could ride it. Ugh, yeah, it's gotta be. I've always loved birds, flight, wind, like just all of that, all the momentum, the force, the power. Yeah. Amane looks down with a blank expression and without even attempting to eat it, plays with her pasta with her fork. You didn't like it? Wow, yeah, this is a subtle detail, right? She like pigs out all the time, like constantly they make the remark that she's this beautiful girl who, like, all of that goes out the window when she's eating. And that's not happening. Nice. And I feel like they didn't overdo that. Like, maybe they got close, right? But they used it just enough and well enough that here there's this shift where she's not doing the usual, and that has a great impact because of the earlier work they did, kind of building up this character and this, you get what I'm saying. I like it. That's a good writing move. No, it's not that. I've been doing some thinking. She gave a faint smile and prodded at her pasta. I looked toward Ageha and shrugged. Kotori was next to Amane, absorbed in reading the book that she had borrowed from the library. Why don't you do that after you finished eating? Sure. It's no good, she's not listening. Kotori for a long time has been finding out about Morning Glory. Since we started the test flights, Kotori being disabled has had nothing to do except operate the winch. That's a pretty vital part of the operation, though. That's why she seems to be thinking I'm useless. She was really involved in the construction of the main wings, too, so that's not true at all. But because of this, we found out about something important. A few days ago, after the farewell party. This is about the natural phenomenon that occur in Burketown in Australia. Hibari translated from the book written in English after being pestered by Kotori. It's a book about morning glory. According to this, the clouds that appear above Australia can have a total length of approximately 1,000 kilometers. Holy cow! It's not just one cloud that appears, it can be many at the same time. Just overlapping. When the sun comes up, the temperature increases and the clouds disappear. There is only about 2 hours before that happens. For the local people, this is a sign of rain, and raging winds blow beneath the clouds. The altitude of the clouds is about 1 or 2 kilometers. If you can ride the vertical drafts well, it is possible to reach those altitudes. It says that this is caused by a collision of the sea breeze and the land breeze. At night, the air cools and wind speed drops, and the inversion layer. If we can understand the mechanisms of it all, it's easy to predict, but Kazegara has vastly different terrain and weather conditions to Australia. Aren't there any other signs that are easier to understand? It has something like that written here. Hibari translates as she reads. Warm winds blow from the north, and at dusk, the eastern sky becomes purple. Oh, hence why we were so interested in the color of the sky. It says that if water droplets appear in the fridge at the pub, it'll occur. How very Australia. There might be a pub around here. Calm down, this is talking about Australia. It says that on mornings when the air temperature is low, but the overall temperature is high, it often occurs. The air temperature is low, but the overall temperature is high, and at dusk on the evening before, the eastern sky is purple. Wait a second. Kotori excitedly opens a page in the old notebook. It's a flight log written by one of the old members. Hey, look at this. Kotori opened it to the page that explained the signs that were seen on the day the photograph was taken. In other words, the day that the morning glory had occurred. It seems that they did a test on that day, and there was detailed information on the weather conditions written in the flight log. When they did the test at around 4 p.m., the air temperature was 23 degrees centigrade. That's pretty low for the height of the summer. It says after that, a strong wind blew from the direction of the sunset, and it was chilly. This was written in the remarks column. They went to the effort of writing it, so that must mean that there was quite a big change in air temperature. As for the color of the sky, it doesn't say. The important thing is, the log was written without the knowledge that today, morning glory will occur. They wrote this without realizing that this was a sign of the morning glory. This is a pretty big hint, isn't it? Yeah, thanks, Hebrew. Hehe, don't mention it. Since then, Coterie has been checking the weather forecast every night and reading books about weather, like she's trying to become a weather forecaster or something. So the 3 signs that indicate the coming of a morning glory are as follows. 1. The day before, a warm, strong wind blows, and the temperature is high enough to cause water droplets to appear on a fridge in a pub. 2. At dusk on the day before, the eastern sky is purple. 3. It's much colder than most summer days. Perhaps this information isn't just nonsense, and this is all we had to go on. Hey, Aoi, whose turn is it today? I'm not sure. Every day we take it in turns to wake up before dawn to see whether or not those clouds have appeared, even if there are no signs the day before. Huh, that's a good idea. Whose turn is it today? Oh god. Oh, we'll get more choices later. I wonder if we have a romantic encounter with her. Isn't it Coterie? Coterie lifts her head as I say that. Yes, it is. Well then, I'd better quickly have a bath and go to bed. If the morning glory does come, we have to fly right away. That's why we covered the glider on the runway and just covered it up with a sheet. Even if it doesn't occur, we can still start doing test flights from early in the morning. It's a little rough, but it doesn't look like it's gonna rain, so there isn't much we can do. There's no way we can let this 1 in a million chance pass us by. We sure as shit can't, Aoi. I've opened my eyes. I close my eyes and roll over in bed, and it doesn't feel like my sleepiness is coming back. I sit up and open the curtains. The sky is dark. I can see the stars twinkling. I went to take a look outside, and in the middle of the garden, I saw Coterie staring up at the sky. Wow. How is it? Aoi. Oh, it looks like nothing's gonna happen. I see. I look at the sky. Still, look how many stars there are there. That's really pretty. All I can see is the shining stars and no signs of the clouds we were looking for. It was quiet. So quiet, it felt like we could hear the stars twinkling. Do you think that it'll happen? I don't know. Maybe. If it did happen, it would be the best summer holiday ever. Yeah. But even if it doesn't happen, to me, it'll still be the best summer holiday ever. Summer holidays are always fun, but this was so fun. It could be the best ever. Me too. I haven't felt like this for a long time. I'm sad to think that the summer holidays will be over. Is there anyone who doesn't feel like that? Coterie shakes her head. Since I injured my legs, the end of the summer holidays meant the start of the new school term. I would have to go back to school, which I hated so much. That's why I didn't want it to end. That's the only reason. But now, it's different. This summer holiday is so much... Whoa. It's so much fun. Too much fun. I don't want it to end. Summer will come around again. As long as we are alive, dozens more times. But this year, the best summer holiday ever will only happen once. It's not good, is it, for something to be too fun? I think I'm gonna be burned out in the second term. As I speak, Coterie giggles. I love that little, in the instrumentation, that little harp or whatever. Such a nice little effect there right after the violin. Like, this nighttime theme is just, it does a lot of work, like emotionally. Oof. You know, Isuka, okay, yeah, I said Itsuki. I was thinking of, I'm also playing Persona 3 Reload. I'm almost done. That one I stopped recording, but I'm almost done with that. For fucking ever, but whatever. You know, I've been thinking of Isuka as my friend, too. Your friend? Kotori nods her head, seemingly quite embarrassed. Isuka wrote in the flight log, "At some point, I won't be able to stay here. Do you remember?" Yeah, I remember. Then, the same kind of thing was written several times. When I read that, it reminded me of myself. I felt the same way. Sometime, I'll have to leave here too. Kotori, who is disabled and didn't really fit into the class, was seriously thinking about quitting school around the time I came to the dormitory. For a long time, she felt like she had to get out of there and felt the same thing strongly when she read Isuka's flight log. And then you copied her by making that list. The things I want to do list that Isuka wrote is something she pursued herself. Yeah. At that time, I didn't have a single friend. When I read Isuka's flight log, I thought of her as my friend, and that helped ease my loneliness. Now that I think about it, it's pretty stupid. That's not true. Because of you feeling like that, we're here now. I guess so. That's why Amane is different, but I feel that Isuka's dream is being fulfilled. As her friend. Really? Yes. I also have special feelings about Isuka. She was Amane's best friend and left the glider behind for us. Also, I now know that to Kotori, who was once so lonely, she was like an invisible friend. To Amane, Kotori, and I, Isuka is a beloved friend. That's why I feel like I owe a lot to Isuka. I just confessed something quite embarrassing. Then why do you seem so happy? I wonder. I couldn't stop myself telling you. Is that because we're close friends? I said it as a joke, but Kotori, sitting there in her wheelchair, looks downward. Yes, maybe. She seems kind of awkward and embarrassed, but happily accepts me using the phrase close friend. But the fact I'm still here and having such an amazing summer, it's all because of you, Aoi. Thank you. Sure. I meekly replied, but inside I answered, that's my line. If it weren't for Kotori, I never would have come into contact with the glider. Even if I had come across it, it definitely wouldn't have been as much fun. It's dawn. The eastern sky had a kind of hazy brightness. Shall we get breakfast ready? Okay. Everyone will be getting up soon. Then another busy day will begin. So much emotion. Love it. I'm hungry. They're still not back yet? They must be working hard. Is there anything in the fridge? Quack, quack. Hat's in the fridge? What's up, Senior Hat? What's wrong? Are you hungry too? Quack, quack. It's not food you're after. So, do you want to wash? Quack. I see, I see. It's quite cool today, isn't it? Oh, that's a sign. I'll be okay to wear more than just my underwear. Quack. Okay, you want to wash. Let's go. Quack. Looks like it feels nice. I'll have a shower later, too. Quack, quack. Hey, Senior Hat, what's that? Quack? Look at the sky. Uh-oh. I think it's happening. Doesn't it seem faintly purple? The direction is east, which means... Oh, here we go. The eastern sky was bluish purple. We were tidying up after finishing flight training for the day, but we stopped working to gaze at the eastern sky. This is a sign, isn't it? This was the moment we'd been waiting for, but we were careful not to get our hopes up yet. We don't know, but until now it hasn't been that color. Well, I don't know, at least not since we started paying attention to it. The air temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. That's 3 degrees lower than yesterday. The overall temperature is quite high, and there is a breeze. This could be it. We all look toward Amane. Amane looks at the eastern sky. She was just standing there, quietly. While looking at the signs that indicated that the phenomenon could occur, she seemed to be assessing the situation. Or maybe she was praying. Amane. Yeah. It might occur tomorrow morning. There are 2 days left of the summer holidays. This was the time limit for Amane's activities with the soaring club. Amane? I know. Yeah, I'm okay. I gave Kodori a prod and spoke quietly to her. The second in charge should take care of occasions like this. Yes, you're right. Ahem. Listen up, everyone. The morning glory will definitely be occurring tomorrow morning. That is what we believe. That is why today, regardless of whose turn it is, we will all wake up before dawn and prepare for flight. All right. Oof. Amane's not so sure. It's 4 a.m. Don't make too much noise. Kanako is still sleeping. Roger that. Roger! Ugh! Kodori! Sorry. We got up at the usual time for people whose turn it is to watch the dawn sky and carried our things outside the dormitory. There is still 1 hour before the morning sun rises. We have to complete our launch preparations before then. It's quite cold, isn't it? It's a little chilly to be wearing such light clothes. Amane, will you be all right in those clothes? Yeah, I'll be fine. Look lively, Amane. You'll soon be flying above the clouds. Kodori, you're speaking really loudly. Ageha, how's the sky? I don't really know. The sky was covered in darkness, and it wasn't possible to see with the naked eye whether or not there were any clouds. Anyway, let's hurry. If we hang about for too long, we won't make it in time for dawn. We reach the runway and immediately begin work on the assembly. Right aileron. Okay. Left aileron. No problems. Next is the elevator. While this is going on, I eat a rice ball that I had made the night before. I have to do something about my empty stomach. Amane, what have you been doing since just now? Sorry, it's nothing, really. We'll be fine. I'm sure it'll go well. Here, have a rice ball and liven up a bit. Yeah, thanks. Aoi, how's it looking? I don't know. In the training, I finally figured out how to catch the thermals. The highest we've flown in training has been 600 meters. We won't be able to reach the morning glory at altitudes like that. Uh-oh. Suddenly, a strong wind blows. Aoi, apply the dive brakes. Got it. When the glider is on the ground, lift will be created if wind hits the main wings. With winds this strong, if we're careless, the aircraft might start floating upwards. That's why we make use of the equipment used to reduce lift during landing. If the lift is at a low level, it'll be okay, even if the wind hits it. It's suddenly become very windy, hasn't it? This could be because of the morning glory. It said in the book that when this occurred in Burketown, Australia, raging winds were blowing beneath the clouds. We'll need to use a crosswind launch. Of course, when strong winds blow from the side, the glider will be blown with them, so we need to use a special technique for takeoff. Interesting. We haven't practiced it much, but we should be okay. I love how they're bringing in the technical aspects of flight to heighten the tension. Very, very nice. Very nice. It's not just how we feel, but bringing in the actual reality of the situation and how that impacts our emotional landscape. Very well done. Look, dawn is breaking. Oh, here we go. Look at that. The eastern sky became dimly bright. Also, the conditions of the sky became clear. Look at the clouds over there. I think we've got it. We've got it. Dawn hadn't broken yet, and the sky was still gloomy, but we could see the outline of the clouds. These clouds could be called morning glory, and were fine and delicate and looked like they could disappear any minute. Coterie, prepare for launch. Roger. Everyone quickly got into position. Amane and I got into our seats in the cockpit. The crosswind is really strong, Aoi. Okay, I'll use full rudder from the start. I push down on the rudder pedal, even though we're not moving yet. If we're hit with a crosswind during takeoff, the glider's nose will face into the wind. This is called the weather vane effect. By turning the rudder in the opposite direction, we can reduce the weather vane effect. However, because the rudder has almost no effect until we pick up speed, we need to push the rudder pedal before launch and gradually release it as we accelerate. That's so, like, there's a lot to think about, man, especially in an aircraft that is much more, like, at the will of the elements. Like, if you have an engine, at least you can kind of use fuel and power and stuff to, you know, work against whatever weather conditions you might have, but a glider is much more at the mercy of all this. This is the first time we've taken off in such strong winds. This kind of feels like a rehearsal, but we have to do it. The runway is clear. Ageha came to let us know that there were no obstructions on the runway. Then, moving round to the side of the glider, she lifts up the left wing, a little higher than usual. The wind is blowing from the front right direction. If the wings are horizontal during takeoff, the wind from the side will go under the right wing, messing up the balance. That's why we need to launch with the right wing a little lower to stop the crosswind from going under it. Look at all this tension they're creating with all of this, like, it's not just business as usual. This is something we haven't really practiced as much, you know, because we haven't had the conditions. They weren't such that we could really practice, you know, we have much more the theory or the concept of it, but we haven't really put it into practice. That is such a good, like, subtle detail to heighten the tension here. To maintain the bank angle at which Ageha is tilting it, I move the yoke to the right to operate the right aileron. Launch preparations complete. Here we go, Amane. Yeah. Amane replied nervously. I give the thumbs up to signal to Ageha outside. Launch preparations complete. Lift it up, Coterie. Creak! The moment Ageha gave the signal, the winch started moving, as if it couldn't wait. The glider steadily accelerates. I pull back on the yoke. It's all up to you, Aoi. Leaving behind Ageha, who was holding up the wing and running with us, the glider floated into the air. Oh my gosh. Ugh! The glider wobbled like crazy when the crosswind hits it. Are you okay, Aoi? Amane? We're okay. We've leveled out. Somehow, we're all right. Roger. As we accelerate, the ailerons start working, and we are able to maintain the bank according to the crosswind. Whew. Tilting the rudder in the direction of the incoming wind, the glider steadily rises into the sky. Our airspeed is really fast. We're climbing much more quickly than usual. Even if it looks like we're flying at the same speed, if the headwind is strong, the speed of the wind hitting the glider, in other words, the airspeed is different. When the airspeed is high, lift increases, which causes the aircraft to rise. Today, the wind is strong. The power of the winch pulling us fights against the power of the main wings lifting us up, causing the glider to shake. Releasing! Just before passing over Kotori's head who was operating the winch, I released the tow rope. That's gotta, like... I'm having trouble imagining, but I almost feel like... Maybe I'm way off base. It almost feels like slingshot, right? Like that kind of force or motion or whatever you want to call it. That's how it comes off, especially in this scene. Whoosh! Whoosh! Freed from the force that was holding us down, the glider was suddenly thrown up into the air. I immediately turn around to check that the tow rope has been released. Release confirmed. The launch is a success. Okay. I check the altitude on the altimeter. Okay. We are currently 300 meters above the ground. Then I looked up to the sky above. Outside the dome-shaped canopy, all I could see was sky. A sky changing from night to morning. Indigo, orange, and pale yellow, the morning sun paints a complex gradient as far as the eye can see. And there, in the middle, a straight line of clouds stretched out. Wow, amazing. I felt like I was being sucked into it as I stared at this spectacle. And of course, we bring back the windmills. What are those clouds? Wow, you're right. What are they? They're very unusual clouds, aren't they? They look just like someone has painted them. If that were the case, they're not painted very well. That's not true. I think they're really pretty. It's a good painting. Huh. As always, you'll praise anything, won't you? Hey, sis. What's that? Huh? Something is flying up there. Could it be? The glider that we saw before. What are they doing so early in the morning, I wonder? They're flying, aren't they? I can see that. That's not what I mean. Well, they're trying to go over there, aren't they? Over there? See? To those clouds. It's so pretty. Yeah. It's so mysterious. How could something like this occur? It really is like a miracle. But isn't it a bit different to that photo? Yeah. Isn't it gonna get even bigger? I don't know. Where are Aoi and Amane? Wait a sec, I'll look through the binoculars. There they are. Where? Where? See, above the lake, it's just shown. Whoa! Clutching the yoke, I somehow managed to maintain our position. The airflow is getting really rough. It's taking everything I've got just to keep our position. On days where the airflow is stable, I only need to hold onto the yoke lightly. However, in these rough skies, the glider is shaking all the time, and we don't know when it'll be hit with sudden winds. I need all my concentration as the glider takes the wind. Are you okay, Aoi? I'm fine. More importantly, can you search for some thermals, Amane? Understood. Amane looks outside the canopy to search for places where thermals may occur. Clouds are the markers used for finding thermals. Clouds are formed when the warm upward drafts are cooled in the sky. Therefore, thermals are usually below them. As I watch the variometer, I fly based on guesswork. The variometer is one of the instruments in the glider and tells us whether it is rising or descending based on atmospheric pressure. If there's a sudden change in the variometer, it's possible that we've entered a thermal without realizing. There's no reaction, huh? Reaction from the variometer was slow and the glider was gradually descending. Uh-oh. There it is, a cloud. Amane called from the front seat. Where? 4 o'clock. Roger. I pull the yoke to the right and push the rudder pedals and the glider turns. The rudder feels heavy. When the ailerons of the rudder take strong winds, they become heavier, but that means that their effect is stronger. Is that it? In my field of vision, I can see the small cloud Amane had found. It was a small, fine, elongated cloud. Please, let this work. I feel like I'm praying as I fly under the cloud. We continue for a while, and we don't seem to be hitting any thermals. After all, we can't see them, so we don't really know if they're there or not. Where is it? I go to turn so that we can head toward another area. Then... Oh, found it! Whoosh! Whoa! Suddenly, the left wing lifts up, tilting the aircraft. Owie! This is... Yes, I know! This wasn't the feeling of being shaken by a crosswind. A rising thermal grazed the wings. I quickly turn the rudder to the left. The variometer reacts. The glider was rising. We've entered a thermal. As we confirm that, I continue to turn the glider. Thermals extend upward through the atmosphere like a pillar. In most cases, the strongest lift is in the center, known as the core. Normally, it gradually gets weaker the further you go toward the outside. That's why if you want to climb higher, you have to get as close to the core of the thermals as possible. I turn the glider to search for the core. The variometer tells us that we are rising. We're getting closer and closer to the core. Looks like we've entered the core, said Amane as she looked at the instruments. I try to keep the glider circling in the same area in an attempt to rise in the core of the thermal. All right, we're climbing! Through the seat, I felt that the glider was rising. It's jokingly called the ass meter, but you can feel all sorts of G-forces through the seat, and is one of the sensations that are important for piloting a glider. That's hilarious. That's because the thing that informs you of the glider's reactions the quickest is not the instruments, it's the seat that is in direct contact with your body. While getting a positive response and not wanting to lose it, I paid close attention while operating the controls. They're rising! Looks like they were able to ride a thermal. Owie! Owie! Owie's busy right now. Amane, it looks like it's going well. Yeah, right now we're rising on a thermal. Our altitude has reached 500 meters. Yes, come on! It seems like the airflow is getting rough, but how about the sky above you? It's pretty rough, but we'll be alright. Owie's doing his best. It seems like it's all going according to plan. So something's gotta go wrong, right? Keep going, go above the clouds. We really want to do that, but... Huh? What's wrong? If we rise a little higher, we'll leave this thermal. Eh? Why? The lift is weak and our rate of climb is slow. At this rate, we won't make it. So we gotta find another one. We won't be able to rise any higher here. The G-forces that felt so strong at first were now getting weaker. We'd risen to a certain extent, but we were now just maintaining the current altitude. If we stay here like this, the thermal might grow and we might be able to gain stronger lift. Well, if we think about the time, it's quite likely that will happen. This is because thermals get bigger as the sunlight hits the Earth, which heats quicker than the air, and with this level of heat, the air close to the ground warms up, causing thermals to occur. Since last night was so cool, when the morning sun hits the Earth, more and more strong thermals will start rising. But we don't have time for that. If we wait any longer for the sun to come up completely, the morning glory will disappear. We're getting out of this thermal. Understood. As we look up to the morning glory in the distance, we flew out of the thermal. We've traveled pretty far, haven't we? Thermals are often thought to extend straight up like a pillar through the air, but actually they don't go straight up. And the same way that smoke is blown by the wind, thermals twist when hit by wind from the side. While we were climbing in the thermal that was leaning to one side because of the wind, we've moved further away from the morning glory. Oh no, the morning glory doesn't just stay in one place. It is rotating as it rolls, moving across the lake. If it gets too far away, then we'll have no means of catching up with it other than falling to increase our propulsion, which makes things difficult. Increasing speed. I push the yoke forward, pointing the nose downward. Oh, so we're sacrificing height in order to hopefully find more. While sliding down on the air, the glider accelerates. Uh, uh... Whenever the nose is pointed downward, the ground always comes into view. Amane, who is scared of heights, stifles her screams. Amane will be okay. This glider will not fall. I'll make sure of that. Yeah. It's falling. What a vote of confidence. Huh? No way, that can't be. See, it's flying. But the altitude is decreasing again, so they left the thermal. In this situation, that might have been a wise decision. Thermal? She knows an uncanny amount about what's going on here. Girl B. I see you. I'm onto you. Hey, what's a thermal? It's nothing. But they're still descending. They have to find the next thermal quickly. I love that because that not only conveys that she knows a lot about their endeavor, like the concepts, the terminology, the knowledge. She knows a lot about the abstractly what's going on here. But I don't think it's that much of a stretch to read into this and to think she also might have a connection to Isuka or to the old soaring club. Both of them might, and she's much more aware of their connection and has, there's much more significance here. I don't think that's an unfair reading. Again, it's been a while since I've actually read this or played this. Which one is more true? Do we read this or do we play it? It's a lot of reading. But yeah, I feel like it's been a while. I don't remember these characters, like how they tie in their significance. So I think this is there. I want to see that play out. We'll see. Grr. We've caught up with it, but we've lost a lot of altitude. To get back the altitude that we'd lost, we search for the next thermal. In theory, they occur more easily above ground that looks like soil or wide areas of asphalt, like parking lots. How about over there? Amane pointed toward the runway from which we had taken off. It was a wide area of soil. In the sunlight, it certainly met the conditions needed for thermals to be made easily. All right. So we're going back to where it all started. Poetic. Huh? They're coming back. Are they planning on landing? Could it be that there's a problem? Owie, what's wrong? Did something happen? Don't panic. We're just searching for thermals. So you don't have a problem. That's right. Oh, phew. But at this time, it must be hard to find thermals. It's good if you have the perfect places or clouds that look like thermals will form near them. Are there any other signs? The only other thing is to actually try flying into them. But they're so close. Pass me the binoculars. I'll try searching to see if anything's out there. We did get some lift above the runway after all, but it was weak. It wasn't enough to raise the heavy double-seater glider. It must be because the ground hasn't warmed up enough to create strong thermals. Damn it! Aren't there any around here? In the meantime, the glider's gradually descending. Whoa! Then the wind came. Perhaps because of the influence of the morning glory, the airflow is being disturbed. The glider wobbles as it is hit by the strong winds, temporarily reducing the lift and causing a drop in altitude. I start to feel impatient. Should we have stayed over there after all? But if we'd done that... Yeah, the morning glory would have moved too far away. The cloud from before was moving even further away from the direction we want to head in. Even if we can rise to the altitude we need, we would be too late. How much time has passed since we took off? Meanwhile, the sky has become brighter and has changed from the morning glow to light blue. Oh, but the music's changed too. Looks like we can't reach it. Amane mumbled to herself, while looking up at the passage of clouds stretching across the sky. No, that's not true. It's right in front of us. I guess so. We'll do something about it. Kotori and Ageha were also looking for clouds from the ground. We haven't reached the time limit yet. Come on, Kotori, pull through for us. They're losing a lot of altitude. They can't find any thermals. Oh, what will they do? At this rate, they won't reach those pretty clouds. Come on, you can do it. It doesn't matter how hard you try. You can't just make thermals appear. I don't know. She's very cute, and she is trying very hard. I mean, if anyone could do it, it would be a cute Twin Tails character. That's all I'm saying. That bird of prey, a kite, is flying over there. It would be good if the glider could flap its wings like a bird. That's why I said they should have an engine. Huh? That's cheating, though. What is it, Yoru? Looks like it's coming this way. Huh? You're right, it's coming toward us. Come on, do your best. That's strange. There are no clouds like that in the sky over here either. Do your very best. You were right, Kotori. Yeah, no doubt about it. Even with the binoculars, it still looks tiny, though. In response to Kotori's transmission, we headed across the lake toward Windmill Hill. Again, another key place. Is this the place that saves us? The place that started all of this, put it all into motion? Could it save us and bring us to the end? There should be some thermals over there. But there aren't any clouds that seem to indicate thermals. Just because there are thermals, it doesn't always mean that clouds are formed. I think that could be because the hill is on a slope. Do you mean that thermals occur more easily above slopes? Yeah. The sunlight hits the ground diagonally, right? But if the surface is also diagonal, the sunlight hits it directly. Interesting. This concentrates the energy, warming it more easily. It's true, the sloping surface of the hill that we are heading toward is shining from being in the direct light of the morning sun. How is it, Kotori? It's there, I found it. It's a lot higher than the one just now. There's no mistaking it. I can see a kite. We can't confirm that from where we are right now, but it seems that a kite is flying above the hill. Kites are birds that glide to high altitudes using upward drafts. In other words, there's a thermal over there. However, that doesn't necessarily mean there's enough lift to raise a heavy double-seater glider. But there's nothing else left for us to try. I didn't think of anything other than aiming for that point. Eventually, the glider crossed the lake and approached the air above Windmill Hill. Whoosh! Wah! Whoa! You know, it also makes sense why I love .hack IMOQ. I mean, the main character, his name is Kite, and isn't there a lot of significance there? Something that I've never thought of, but all this imagery, all this significance with wind and air currents and all this stuff, the power of wind. There's so much that Kite gets swept up in, like a physical kite does, or something that relies on the power of wind, something external, right? Relies on lift and all these other forces and factors. But in spite of that, he has this agency, and that's what's so interesting is yes, you're reliant on conditions, you're reliant on things that are ever changing, things that are not guaranteed, but how you use that to create your own agency and your own power. It's all coming together. Fuck, man. Suddenly we were shaken vertically. The variometer told us that the glider had dropped sharply. We've been caught in a downward draft? I panicked, and the next moment, uh-oh. We felt a huge impact. Oh no. Oh. We're rising. Suddenly it felt like we were being pushed from below, and the glider steadily floated upward. Then a little later, the variometer informs us that we're rising. We had ridden a thermal. It's pretty strong. We can do this, Amane. Yeah. They're climbing. They're climbing. Look, Ageha. Oh, so they are. That's great. They've gotten up so high already. See, there was one after all. Yeah, way to go, Kotori. It's nice getting praise. Does it look like they can climb all the way up? They've got pretty strong lift. I think they can make it. Okay, that obviously wasn't supposed to be always saying that. Take care of Amane. Leave it to me. All right, go on to the other side of the clouds. Yeah, on the wings that you guys made. Amazing. They've gone up so high. How can they fly so high just by riding the wind? If you want to know the theory, I can tell you. Do you want to hear it? No, it's okay. Even if you tell me, I won't understand it. Also, I don't think that something like that can be explained with theory. Without theory, something that big would never be able to fly. Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Before we knew it, the powerful thermals occurring above Windmill Hill had lifted us high up in the sky. We were getting closer and closer to the morning glory. We're getting closer, Amane. Yeah. The clouds that from below looked small and intermittent were actually pretty big when we got close to them. I wonder how wide they are. At the very least, it would comfortably be able to cover the width of the glider. They stretched out to around the distance needed to go diagonally across the lake. It's a little far, isn't it? It's okay. If we can keep going above the clouds, it should be easy to pass across them. The thermal that we were riding was pretty powerful. As Amane had just explained, the slope of the hill is hit directly by the sunlight, so it heats up quickly. In other words, that means that the difference in temperature is bigger compared to the surrounding area. If there is no difference in temperature, then thermals will not be created, and if the difference is big, then strong thermals will be made. The upward draft that Kotori had found for us feels strong enough to take us all the way to the horizon. While this is happening, the sun is rising, and the air temperature is increasing. Morning glory occurs for about 2 hours from the beginning of dawn. Come on, come on! I'm getting impatient. However, if we try too hard, we'll lose balance, and we might lose altitude. While checking the rate of ascent on the variometer, I turned the glider to aim for the core of the thermal, the most effective part. Eventually, the glider that Amane and I were riding reached the altitude of the morning glory that we were aiming for. Then we had soon risen above that and reached a position where we could view it from above. Holy shit, we did it! Oh, look at this! Huh. Look, Amane! Yeah, I can see it. I knew she'd be looking at it, but I said it anyway. It's because I was so moved. Is there anyone who wouldn't be moved to see a spectacle like this? With the bluish-purple sky in the background, the passage of clouds shone as they were bathed in the pale pink sunlight. Words like beautiful wouldn't really express it at all. The word that came to mind was divine. My trembling hands gripped the yoke to gain an altitude to allow us to stay above the clouds. I turned into the thermal. I glanced at the front seat and saw Amane from the side. Her eyes were open wide like a little kid's as she looked at the passage of clouds stretching across the sky. This is the view that Isako wanted to show me. To bring me to this place. Amane, can you get the camera? Oh, yeah, that's right. Before we took off, Ageha had given her a digital camera. She asked us to take a picture if we were able to fly above the morning glory. This is the perfect viewpoint, looking across the clouds. Yes! I've taken it. All right, let's go to that place. Yeah. Amane nodded as if preparing herself. We didn't come here to look at the clouds. We came to pass across them. Once we had gained enough altitude, I tilted the yoke and turned the glider. Now it's time for us to go. The airflow here was calm, and we could fly without being shaken by crosswinds. In the upper parts of the sky, there were hardly any clouds, and the clear light blue gradient spread out in all directions. While paying attention to our rate of descent, we traveled along the space of crystal clear light. We're approaching the passage of light. A rolling airflow occurs around the clouds, and we can ride that. We can pass along the passage of clouds as far as we want. We finally arrived. The morning glory was right there at our fingertips. And as I thought that, oh no. Oh no. All of a sudden it happened. As our view swung round, the divine road of cloud that should have been there in front of us in the space of a moment was getting further away. We suddenly lost lift, and then a few moments later, we realized that the glider was rapidly descending. Huh? I quickly pulled at the yoke, but there was no response. The field of vision spun round, and we couldn't even figure out if we were facing up or down. What is this? What's going on? Is it a stall? However, there were no signs that that was going to happen. It was just like there was no air and we had lost all our lift. We're falling. What is it? What happened? They're falling. No way, give me the binoculars. This is bad. What happened? Owie, owie, come in, owie. Owie, owie, come in. I can't deal with that right now. The surface of the lake appeared from the other side of the canopy. We were falling with the nose pointing straight down. Owie! I'll level it out. In the heat of the moment, I didn't know which controls I used. Anyway, I tried to lift the nose up and stabilize the wings. Whoa! Whoosh! A shock ran through me that felt like the fuselage might be crushed. To us, the pilots, the vibrations passed through our bodies, and for a moment, I thought that we had crashed. Huh. Are we okay? Looks like it. The nose and the wings leveled out, and the glider had gained lift and was floating. We were 200 meters from the surface of the water. Oh, thank God. In a moment, we had fallen almost 800 meters. If it was a few seconds later, it would have been too late. My whole body trembled with fear and relief. Are you all right, Amane? Yeah, somehow. Her shoulders were shaking, but her reply was okay. What the hell happened just now? There were no signs that the airflow had become separated from the main wings, in other words, a stall. It is often said that it can occur without warning, but for it to occur somewhere that had such stable airflow, we might have been caught in a strong downward draft. You mean just now? If that were true, it was pretty strong. Do things like that really happen? In the summer, in the vicinity of the center of lakes or big rivers, it seems that sometimes downbursts occur. Downbursts are powerful downward drafts. If a downburst, a giant mass of air, falls to the earth, it is powerful enough to cause severe damage. If we were swallowed by something like that, we wouldn't stand a chance. The place where we were was in the vicinity of the center of a lake, like Amane was saying. We were so distracted by the morning glory that we lost sight of our own position. Because of the lake, the air cools, and it's possible that a strong downward draft would be created. If the air itself falls down, a glider, which floats using the power of the air, would have no choice but to be taken down with it. That might be why we lost lift and fell, suddenly, without any warning signs. Aoi, Amane, please respond. We heard Kotori's tearful voice over the radio. We're okay. Somehow we managed to level out. What a relief. What on earth happened? We don't know. Amane said that we might have been caught in a strong downward draft. A little more and we would be upside down in the lake. Hey, Kotori's gonna stop, you know. Or Kotori's heart's gonna stop, you know? Sorry, but we're all right now. Phew. What was that? What happened? I don't know. It could have been a malfunction, or they were caught in a strong downward draft. But yes, somehow they managed to level it out before they fell. Phew, that was really close. If they were any later, they would have died. I guess it's dangerous for people to fly through the air. Yes, for humans who don't have wings to aim for the sky, they need to be brave. It's dangerous too. But even so, people who can't fly. Sis? The morning glory. I quickly looked above. The place where we were just now is much farther away. It's dazzling to think that we were so high up. Let's go up one more time. Are you fucking kidding? It's no good, Owie. We won't make it in time. You almost fucking died, dude. Really? We won't know unless we try. As I shouted, I looked to the sky. At some point, the dawn sky had disappeared, and the sky was now filled with a clear blue color. Exposed to the sunlight, the passage of cloud was nothing like it was at the beginning, and it was thinning out and gradually disappearing. I turned the glider toward Windmill Hill. If we have the powerful thermal from before, we might still be able to make it. I'll take Amane there. That's enough for now. But we weren't able to go to that place, but I was able to see, even if just for a short time, the sight that Isaka wanted to show me. That is enough. Amane. Amane looked through the canopy of the clouds above. Or at the clouds above. This is goodbye. Amane's whisper, along with the passage of cloud, faded away into the sky. Whew! Whew! Y'all, we are gonna stop it here, and I have a feeling we are finishing up in the next one, but god damn! The emotion, the writing, everything. I fucking love this game. We'll be back in the next one. Peace.